Hello friends, welcome to Dungeons & Dragonfly, where I adapt various characters for use in D&D. I'm Dragonfly9078, and today I'm building Astolfo. After the build, be sure to check out my channel to vote for the next one. So, what do we want from this build? Well, as a rider class servant, we do have a mount, so we'll need to be able to summon our hippogriff. Astolfo also has a tendency to collect other noble phantasms during his adventures, so we'll need some of those, from the spell-breaking Tuath Dé Dunsany to La Black Luna, our magical hunting horn. Unfortunately, Astolfo is also a bit Astolfo. He has a unique skill called Evaporation of Reason that makes him flighty and forgetful, to the point where he forgot the names of his own noble phantasms, so we'll need a way to represent that mechanically. Looking over at ability scores, I'll be using the standard point array. If you want to roll for stats, that's fine, just make sure your strength and charisma are high enough to multiclass. Starting off with a 13 in strength, Astolfo only has D rank strength, but he does wear chainmail and wields strength-based weapons. His agility is B rank on the other hand, so we'll go with a 14 in dexterity, before dropping right back down to a 12 in constitution for his D rank endurance. Intelligence is only 10, logic really isn't his strong suit, but the real victim of Evaporation of Reason is his wisdom, which we'll just straight up dump. Then we'll finish off with a 15 in charisma. Astolfo is exceptionally beautiful and never lacks for suitors. The best race for most Fate servants is definitely the Reborn. We get +2 to our dexterity and +1 to charisma, making both 16, and our ancestral legacy gives us proficiency with perception and animal handling. Riding is one of our class skills after all. Reborn have a deathless nature, giving us advantage on saves against disease and poison, resistance to poison damage, and advantage on death saves. We also don't need to eat, drink, breathe, or sleep since we're a magical construct, and we can long rest in 4 hours if we go into a motionless, inactive spirit form. We also get flashes of knowledge from a past life, whether that's our own memories from life or little bits of our master's memories. A number of times per day equal to our proficiency bonus, we can add a d6 to any skill check that we make. Astolfo is the son of an English king, making him a noble, which gives us proficiency in history and persuasion. And as one of the 12 paladins of Charlemagne, it only makes sense that we start off as a paladin. We get 2 skills from the extremely limited paladin list, I'll say athletics and insight. We have a divine sense we can use to sense the presence of celestials, fiends, and undead within 60 feet. Servants can be seen as a type of undead, this will let us find them. Then Lay on Hands gives us a pool of points equal to 5 times our paladin level. As an action, we can touch a creature and expend points to heal them for that amount, or spend 5 points to cure a disease or poison. We'll go with the dueling fighting style to add 2 to the damage of any weapon we're wielding one-handed, as long as it's the only weapon we're wielding. Astolfo's most prominent weapon is his lance, which is a 2-handed weapon normally, but when we're mounted it can be wielded one-handed, and since we're a rider, that feels appropriate. We also get spells at this level, like Shield of Faith, which uses our sheer optimism and carefree attitude to boost our AC by 2. Alternatively, we can use our monstrous strength skill to burn a spell slot when we hit a creature, boosting our damage depending on the level of the slot we expend. 3rd level paladins are immune to all diseases, and will become an Oathbreaker. I wouldn't say that Astolfo is an Oathbreaker maliciously, just that his Evaporation of Reason and general attitude make it difficult for him to hold to a specific oath. Astolfo just kind of does what he thinks is best. We do get some spells as an Oathbreaker, but the only thing we're really interested in at this level is our Channel Divinity, specifically Dreadful Aspect. This will serve as the lesser form of La Black Luna when we don't remember its name. We blow our horn and instill fear into nearby enemies. As an action, we can force creatures of our choice within 30 feet to make a wisdom save, frightening them for up to a minute on a failure. Astolfo has A+ rank luck, so we'll pick up the lucky feat so things will go our way more often. Up to 3 times per day we can reroll an attack, ability check, or save that we make, or an attack that is made against us, and choose which roll is used. Then at 5th level we can attack twice with the attack action instead of just once. We also get some more Oathbreaker spells, but they're not really in keeping with our cute aesthetic, so we'll largely ignore them. 6th level paladins get Aura of Protection, adding our charisma modifier to all of our saving throws, as well as those of allies within 10 feet of us. Astolfo does have magic resistance, but it's normally a low rank. That said, his noble phantasm, the Tuath Dé Dunsany, passively buffs it up to A rank, even when he doesn't remember its true name. 7th level Oathbreakers have an Aura of Hate, which adds our charisma modifier to our melee weapon damage, as well as to that of fiends and undead within 10 feet of us. Then we'll bump our charisma to 18 with our next ability score improvement, so our auras get even better. 9th level paladins get 3rd level spells, and there's actually ones we care about. Since our book can break pretty much any kind of magecraft, we'll take both Dispel Magic and Remove Curse. Then we'll pick up Bestow Curse from the Oathbreaker list for the special ability of our lance, the Trap of Argalia. When we hit someone with it, their leg is erased below the knee, so they're in a constant state of falling. We can use Bestow Curse to touch a creature and force a wisdom save. On a fail, we can apply one of several curses, the most suitable of which is giving them disadvantage on dexterity checks and saves. Then we get another aura at 10th level, the Aura of Courage, which makes us and allies within 10 feet of us immune to being frightened. An improved Divine Smite adds a free 1d8 radiant damage to all of our melee weapon attacks. We'll cap off our charisma with our ASI at 12th level, then 13th level brings us 4th level spells, and the only one we want is Find Greater Steed to summon our faithful Hippogriff. Is what I would say if Hippogriff was one of the options for animals to summon. Unfortunately, the closest options on the list are the Griffin and the Pegasus, but ask your DM if you can use a Hippogriff instead, since they're actually lower CR than either of those. Also, whatever we summon can be a Fiend, Fey, or Celestial, so if we pick Fiend, it'll get the boost from our Aura of Hate. We're really getting a lot of mileage out of the Tuath Dé Dunsany, as Cleansing Touch lets us use our action to end a spell on ourself or a creature we touch a number of times per day equal to our Charisma modifier. Then as a 15th level Oathbreaker, our Supernatural Resistance gives us resistance to non-magical bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing damage. With our last ASI, we'll grab the Mounted Combatant feat. While we're mounted, we get advantage on melee attacks against creatures smaller than our mount, we can force an attack directed at our mount to target us instead, and our mount has evasion. Rather fitting, since the Hippogriff can briefly blink into the reverse side of the world to avoid attacks. For our 5th level spells, we finally remember our Noble Phantasm's true names. Destructive Wave unleashes La Black Luna to its fullest extent, blasting a 30-foot radius around us with sound, dealing 5d6 thunder and 5d6 of our choice of radiant or necrotic to creatures of our choice who fail a constitution save, as well as knocking them prone. Then Circle of Power is the full strength of the Tuath Dé Dunsany. For up to 10 minutes, we disrupt magic within a 30-foot radius. We and any allies within that sphere have advantage on saves against spells and magical effects, and if passing a save would result in only taking half damage, we take no damage instead. We'll finish off our Paladin levels by expanding all of our auras to 30 feet rather than 10, then we'll close out the build as a Barbarian. Barbarians get unarmored defense, but we wear chainmail, so we'll ignore that. We also gain the ability to enter a rage as a bonus action. This is where our Evaporation of Reason really kicks in, as we can't cast or concentrate on spells while we're raging, meaning if we rage, we're restricted to the lesser forms of our Noble Phantasms. Also worth noting, since we wear chainmail, which is heavy armor, we don't actually get the benefits of raging, just the downsides. Our capstone is the 2nd level of Barbarian for Reckless Attack, letting us get advantage on strength-based melee attacks in exchange for giving attacks against us advantage. And Evaporation of Reason does also function somewhat as the Instinct skill, so Danger Sense gives us advantage on dex saves against effects we can see. Now that the build is complete, let's take a look and see what we have done. Well, we don't really have to worry much about what enemy spellcasters are doing, since our saves are fantastic, with our lowest being our intelligence at +5, and our highest being charisma at +16. We've also got Circle of Power to get advantage on saves against magic, and Dispel Magic and Cleansing Touch to deal with any spells that manage to stick. Plus we can extend our protection not just to our mount, but to all of our allies within 30 feet. Speaking of, our mount is a big help in battle. It'll vary a bit depending on what you summon. The Pegasus is the fastest with a 90-foot fly speed, the Griffin is slower but has multi-attack, and if your DM lets you go for it, the Hippogriff is both the slowest and has way less HP than the other two, but is the most flavorful choice, so it's up to you. Whatever we pick, it's a huge upgrade in mobility and at least one extra attack per round. I really do like the flavor on this build, but it is definitely not what you would call optimized. First of all, our stats are all over the place. We're attacking with our strength, but we've got barely enough to multiclass and barely enough to wear our heavy armor. Plus, since we're wearing that armor, our decent dex bonus isn't helping our AC at all. The 1st level of Barbarian is also actively detrimental to us, since the only effect of our rage is to deny us our spells thanks once again to our heavy armor. Dropping the armor down to medium would probably be a good choice, since we could get higher AC with half plate than we do with our chainmail currently, and we would get the other benefits of raging. But flavorfully, the rage is representative of losing our sanity when the moon is visible, and Astolfo is explicitly said to have chainmail to my understanding, so I'm gonna stick with that. If you want to change it, that's totally up to you. Go right ahead.
So, are you saying you think you're not allowed to continue living in this world?
I just don't know. I don't know anything.
You're not obligated to do any of that. Making a difference, dedicating yourself to someone, you do those because you wanna. You don't need a purpose. Wanting to live is human nature. As long as your heart keeps beating, you should continue wanting to live from here on out.
Thank you for watching, friends. I hope you enjoyed the build. If you have any feedback or suggestions for characters you'd like to see me build, please leave them in the comments below, and they could show up in a future poll. Leave a like or subscribe if you want to see more. Thanks again for watching. I will see y'all later.